this Sunday, in our pastor's absence, we're pleased to have a special guest speaker. And once again, he's really not a guest, he's one of our own. I've been told he has a calculator somewhere embedded in his head. He also has a great singing voice. Mr. Tim Thomas.
Good morning. Morning. The reading is from the Gospel of John, chapter 20, verses 24 through 29. But Thomas, one of the 12, called Didymus, was not with them when Jesus came. The other disciples therefore said unto him, We have seen the Lord. But he said unto them, Except I shall see in his hands the prints of the nails, and put my finger into the print of the nails, and thrust my hand into his side, I will not believe. And after 8 days, again, his disciples were within, and Thomas with them. Then came Jesus, the doors being shut, and stood in the midst, and said, Peace be unto you. Then saith he to Thomas, Reach hither thy finger, and behold my hands, and reach hither thy hand, and thrust it into my side, and be not faithless, but believing. And Thomas answered and said unto him, My Lord and my God. Jesus saith unto him, Thomas, because thou hast seen me, thou hast believed. Blessed are they that have not seen and yet have believed. Here ends the reading. Well, certainly the reason why I picked this has a couple of reasons. One of which is I've been a doubting Thomas, and it goes with my last name as well. I think that most of us can identify with Thomas. Seeing is believing. And the concept of a God is hard to believe when we cannot touch him, hear him speak, or follow some logical path that we are taught in school, especially the way our schooling is early in life. There are probably some exceptional people here who are able to believe in things that are beyond our human senses. I admire that. To be able to believe in the grace of God by faith alone, I admire that. My thoughts are you're kind of born one way or the other. As I said, I'm definitely the doubting Thomas, and I have been for most of my life. In the late 50s, I was born the fourth son. Now, what would be 5 sons of Reverend Perry and Thomas. So you have to guess which one I am. For the most part, as a young child, I was one who wanted to please my parents, and especially get good grades. In elementary school, it's all about the right answers and wrong answers. Math was either correct or incorrect. History was dates and things that occurred, and you either knew your facts or you didn't. Science was always empirical observations and logical theories about why things are the way they are, or at least the way they appear. I did well in those subjects, especially math. I was in my element. Church was always an interesting part of my life, being a PK. Many of you I know out there are PKs, well, that's a preacher's kid. You're always at church and expected to be on your best behavior. To an extent as a PK, you certainly get some nice attention. People are very friendly and very kind to you. At the same time, everyone seems to know you, and especially as a child, how can you possibly know everyone? It's a bit intimidating. We were always in church, even on vacation. When we'd be camping around the country, we would go ahead and stop by some church, not necessarily a Methodist church. And even one time on a wilderness canoe trip, my father made sure that we had our own little service on Sunday. Never managed to miss it. My family even went to England as my father exchanged as a minister. So you notice the clerical collar there. And if you probably look closer at the chimneys and things, you'd say it doesn't quite look like America. But we went over there. It was all very interesting. But once again, it was reality and an observation of something new. It was interesting to me. But I was a young child and just taking it all in. As many of you know, I like to sing. And so at about 10 years old, I kind of demanded my own solo. But wouldn't you know, right before that, I was horsing around with my younger brother, and we bumped heads, and I ended up with a shiner. So you make your guess from this picture as to what's going on in terms of my behavior. But it all looks good, right? Young child and the choir over there. But music is another thing. It's either correct or it's incorrect. Certainly seeing everything through the same prism. 8th grade finally comes along and it's time for confirmation class. Like everything else so far, it's about learning, remembering, and being able to recite it correctly. It's important to understand the rituals, the calendar of the church, and reasons why we do things. Once again, I was in my element. I could learn that stuff and I could recite it back. At the end, we were confirmed in the church with some laying on of hands and blessing for each of us. But to me, it was more like a ritual. Yes, something you go through, part of the passing, like when you get born and you're baptized, you're confirmed, and you move on in the church life. But still, it was all conceptual to me in terms of believing, having a true belief in God.